Hey, I'm Jesse. Let's have a devotion. We're going to look at Romans 12:18. This has been incredibly fruitful, this singular verse, in helping people deal with family drama. Okay, family in particular, because Christmas has this way of coming back once a year. And, if you have conflict with somebody in high school, you have the luxury of never seeing that person ever again, possibly. But with family, you got to bring extra buckets of grace. And you got to forgive and forgive and forgive because they're your family. You're going to be family forever. Here's Romans 12:18. If possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. In yesterday's devotion, like I told you, there's some continuity of thought that's a little bit lost in our one verse at a time format. In yesterday's devotion, we see that we are told to give careful thought to do what is honorable in everyone's eyes. You're not going to have 100% consensus on everything that you do all the time, but you give careful thought to it. You at least try. You give careful thought to it. And it acknowledges that it's not always possible when you combine the thought from verse 17 to verse 18. When I was working on my dissertation at the very beginning, we had this like pivotal theological thing at the very core of it, and it had to pass muster before I could begin the process. And this was not my dissertation defense. This was like the pre-approval stage. And I had like these three professors, and they took views A and B and C. And so the three of them didn't agree with each other, which put me in an even tighter spot because, if I go with view A, then B and C disagree with me. If my view happens to align with B, then A and C are after me. And if C has the same view that I do, then A and B are already disagreeing with each other. And so I couldn't, shape the trajectory of my doctorate around what any one of the panel for the pre-approval, like the gatekeepers of the whole process, thought. But fortunately, I didn't happen to agree with any of them. I proposed D, and then all three of them agreed. And so it worked out. So there are some impossible scenarios. If you try to do everything by committee at the church, for example, nothing will ever get done. Sometimes you just have no choice but to do something that may be unpopular. But you do try. You do give careful thought to what is honorable in everyone's eyes. Keep that thought moving contiguously right into this verse. If possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. See how those two things connect? Now, the very first two words carry with them an incredibly important connotation. It's not always possible. Okay, it's not always possible. We've seen a lot of structures to verses so far. We've seen like three little phrases or clauses that are like command, 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 and then the next verse like two commands, and then the next verse like this couplet of converse and complementary commands, right, that click together. But this has only one command in it. Live at peace with everyone. Now, aren't you thankful that's not the verse? Okay, if somebody tries to tell you that Romans 12:18 says to live at peace with everyone, all right, I want you to bop them with a fun noodle because they're lying. It's not true. It's not what it says. It doesn't say live at peace with everyone. It says, if possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. So we've gone from command, 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 two different commands, a couplet of complementary commands, to now one command. The command is to live at peace with everyone, but it comes with two qualifiers. First of all, it's not always possible. Second of all, you can only do what you can do. Now, you can't control what someone else does, and you can't control how someone else responds. I'm not a prophet, but my gut tells me I just helped a couple marriages just by saying that, because sometimes I say that when I do marital counseling, and sometimes that helps my own marriage too. when my wife and I realized that about ourselves. Like, uh, as far as it depends on you, you have zero control over other people. Okay. Now, please control your children. Don't just let them run out into traffic. Teach them how crosswalks work. But if you have absolute control over another adult, you're probably a huge creep. In fact, if you have complete control over what another adult does, unless that adult has some profound special needs, you're probably acting like a human trafficker, for crying out loud. Okay, you can't control what someone else does. You can't control how someone else acts. If you're so manipulative that you can at least coax them or convince them and somehow make them respond the way that you want them to, you've got to know that that's self-defeating, because for one thing, they don't genuinely believe that. And at some point, it's going to come back and bite you. They're going to defend themselves eventually one day. So understand this. There are only so many things that you can do to influence other people. And these are the things that depend on you, the things that are in your control. If possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. That's simple and profound. It's freeing, but it's also quite obligating, isn't it? In what way is it obligating? Some of you may have heard this verse or reanalyzed this verse with me today, and come to see, I have not done everything as far as it depends on me. If I'm totally honest, Jesse, I could be doing more to live at peace with this certain person in my life. I could be doing more. I have not done everything as far as it depends on me. I feel obligated by this verse because, Jesse, I could totally just send them a text right now and we could meet up for coffee and we could reconcile. I need to own my part of a failed relationship, and contacting that person would not be just opening up an old wound. I need to be at peace with them, and I haven't done everything that I can. I need to own my stuff. I need to apologize if that's helpful. By the way, don't put too much stock in apologies. Apologies are overrated. Forgiveness is way better than forgiving someone is way better than receiving an apology from them. But anyway, as far as it depends on you, if you haven't done everything, this verse is kind of obligating, but it's quite freeing in just the first two words, because built into it, a contiguous thought from the previous verse, it's not always possible to live at peace with everyone. So if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. I can't say it any better than the Word of God. So do that.